Welcome to a special briefing on Chinese military activity around Taiwan. I hope you enjoyed your weekend because this week just got busy. So on August 3rd, China announced that it would be conducting military naval exercises in 6 designated areas around the island of Taiwan. Those began August 4th and continued through August 7th and were due to cease at the time of this recording. Here's some video of some of the 11 ballistic missile launches we saw into the area. This caught us by surprise because there were no notice to aviators that there could be a hazard in the air. But despite that, they did multiple launches from the mainland into the Strait of Taiwan and over the island of Taiwan with no less than 11 ballistic missiles. These missiles were tracked from multiple launch sites. We count 7 here that include the multiple launch rocket system used to fire MLRS rockets into the Strait of Taiwan, crossing the Taiwan median line. And some of the ballistic missiles, the DF-15s, did land in Japan's economic zone near Chinese claimed territory there. Here's a couple stills of the MLRS system being used. Very similar to systems used in Russia. Here's some video taken by people on the beach who I'm sure were quite surprised when they saw missiles flying over their heads into the Straits of Taiwan. Here's another angle for you. You can hear the sound barrier being broken multiple times as each rocket goes through. Notice the increase in speed after the sound barrier break. All right, so here's where these missiles and rockets landed. These are the 6 areas. On the left-hand side, I've got the aviation flight tracker overlay. Just took, a snapshot from the weekend to give you an idea of how air traffic has been routed around these designated areas. On the right-hand side, that is the Marine Fleet Tracker. Tracks everything from small fishing boats to large warships. Generally speaking, people respected the operation. There's a few vessels that at the time of this screenshot, there were a few vessels in the areas where missiles were landing. We were just very lucky that no one was actually struck by debris or an incoming inert warhead. In addition to this, China suspended or canceled 8 diplomatic and military functions with the United States. And this is a real escalation, much more than just any missile launches into some water. The U.S. theater commander talks have been canceled indefinitely, including defense policy coordination talks. This could lead to an accident or an incident between Chinese military and American military without these deconfliction talks. U.S. military maritime consultative agreement meetings have been canceled, and indefinitely suspending is U.S.-Chinese cooperation for illegal immigrants, legal assistance in criminal matters, cooperation in transnational crimes. That's more of a diplomatic part of this. They're also suspending U.S. narcotics cooperation, and talks on climate change are all being suspended. So both military and diplomatic ties are being cut. Calls to China during the exercise from our Pentagon have gone unanswered, and that is a real problem. From the weekend, I believe this was Friday, we saw troops being loaded onto ferries and LHDs. And then later that same day, we saw 3 of the Type 071 LHDs laden with troops, amphibious vehicles, going to sea. There is also currently 2 Chinese aircraft carriers. They only have 2. They have both of them at sea right now, south of Taiwan. Here's some state video from the exercise over the weekend. So the state exercises were not limited to missile launches. Here you can see naval activity, including we saw a single Type 055 destroyer, accompanied by a 0 Type 54, and a 0 Type 52 is also at sea as well. Multiple warships at sea, including their 2 carriers, conducting these naval activities. This is a point defense cannon, basically the Chinese version of the Cash-Tan shooting down a drone. Helicopter activities, ASW rocket launches here. These are basically depth charges in the 21st century. All this was going on over the weekend. But the major update, the something that took everybody by surprise, is that these exercises are not ending. They were due to end yesterday, time of this recording, but they have been extended with no cancellation. China has just put out a very vague statement that they're extending military exercises around Taiwan. And as of this morning, they have multiple recon UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicle drones, in Japan's economic zone around Japan claimed chain islands that are east of Taiwan there. So they're extending the military exercise in both time and in space. And there is no end time given with this very vague Chinese statement that they would continue. This puts a lot of pieces in place for an operation in Taiwan. These are some rough numbers that we've put together from, I believe this was a website out of the UK, put this graphic together, and it's just a general idea of what kind of troops are in the area. But the big thing is China has a lot of ships at sea, and they've already demonstrated their willingness to use ballistic and rocket weapons in the Straits of Taiwan and shoot right over the land of Taiwan, the island of Taiwan, despite American presence. Now, as far as our presence go, we still have the USS Ronald Reagan in the Philippine Sea with the USS Tripoli. We also have the Abraham Lincoln up in Japan with the USS America. So we have expeditionary forces with Marines, available. The island of Guam is, a large Air Force base with a large number of Marines and military Air Force and Army down there. And we have quite a few ships at sea in the vicinity of Taiwan. All the pieces are in place for an operation in Taiwan. However, this is brinksmanship, so that does not necessarily mean that there will be an invasion. No. All we can do this week is watch. We're going to watch and see what happens, and we'll give you an update if anything occurs. But right now, Chinese naval exercises are extended to an undefined date. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one.